beat goes on. Jones to the left side, inside the 5 and into the end zone. Aaron Jones, see ya! Green Bay wins the NFC North.
Good morning. Welcome into First Take. Merry Christmas Eve. Happy Hanukkah. Thank you so much for spending part of your holiday here with us. Stephen A. Smith, Damian Woody, Max Kellerman. I'm Molly Karen Rose. Hi, guys.
Molly.
How are we feeling? Are we in the holiday spirit or what?
Oh, I'm great.
Yeah?
I'm good.
What you doing?
Ready to spread the cheer?
What you doing here?
Listen. Let me tell you something, Molly.
Okay.
I don't appreciate people FaceTiming me out of the blue.
Oh.
Don't ever FaceTime me again.
You randomly FaceTime?
You interrupted my evening when I'm trying to enjoy my family, and this buster
back from college.
this buster right here come FaceTiming me.
Did you hit decline or you answered?
No, I answered because,
Okay.
being the man that I am, I answered the FaceTime. Then he want to start laughing and trying to clown me.
Well, first of all, a couple of things. Number one, respect your elders. Respect your elders. That's number one. Number two, I'll FaceTime you any damn time I want to FaceTime you, especially since I got permission from the wife. Wife was right next to him. She said, "Hey, Steven, how you doing? Thank you for calling." She was so wonderful and so sweet. So you automatically at a disadvantage because I got the support of the wife. So you don't have a leg to stand on at all. At all. And number three, and more importantly, it's not my fault that you're miserable. That's the Dallas Cowboys that did that to you. No. That's the Dallas Cowboys that did that to you, man. That's the Dallas Cowboys that did that to you.
Do I get to FaceTime you or not?
Max, don't listen. You trying to FaceTime me on the show? Like we got to stop all of this.
That's right.
We got to stop all this.
That's the why. Listen, you made the wrong prediction. You should be happy you on the show. Your credibility is shot.
You wasn't even supposed to be on here. Now you want to show up now that I'm on.
I made a special visit because I missed y'all.
We're saving the Cowboys for the next block, fellas. My goodness. Let's talk about Monday Night Football, though. That bad man. The Packers clinched the NFC North title with a victory over the division rival Vikings. Green Bay improves to 8-1 this season against teams entering the matchup with a winning record. That's best record in the NFL. The Packers are currently the 2 seed in the NFC playoff picture. Side note, Kirk Cousins falls to 0-9 on Monday Night Football. Take a listen.
To be back on top of the North after a couple years being down feels great. To win in this stadium, where a couple years ago I was jeered leaving the field after breaking my collarbone, feels pretty good.
I'm not going to get into this Kirk Cousins on Monday night thing and all this stuff. Offensively, we didn't play as well as we can play. I'll just say that, okay?
All right, Stephen A., biggest takeaway from Monday Night Football?
Well, the biggest takeaway for me is that the Green Bay Packers appear to have a running game. This kid, Aaron Jones, what does he rush for? 23 carries, 154 yards, had a 56-yard touchdown run, averaged 6.7 yards a carry. And if you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback and you have a running game to speak of, that goes a long, long way because we know what he can do when it comes to flinging that football. But to have a running game to rely upon, you're talking about play action. You're talking about a guy you can dip and dunk to out of the backfield because he can catch some passes as well. We know that he can run the football. You're talking about being able to go for the big play, but also moving the chains and being methodical in your approach. If you take that and you combine that with the fact that it spells the defense to some degree, Zadarius Smith, the Smith brothers, Preston Zadarius, or what have you, and you saw what they were doing last night, that goes a very, very long way. I'm not going to get on Minnesota too much because, as I said before the game, I predicted Green Bay will win this game because if you don't have Dalvin Cook in the backfield, that really, really hampers Kirk Cousins. Not to mention the fact that even though Thielen came back, he wasn't even targeted. He didn't catch a pass all night long. And Diggs only had about 3 receptions for 57 yards. So we see how much Dalvin Cook's absence hampers Minnesota, and I don't think that's the real Minnesota Vikings team. They're an entirely different team with Dalvin Cook, so it's really not about what I saw from them offensively. It's about what I saw from Green Bay against that playoff-ready defense that is the Minnesota Vikings. If it were not for the ability to run the football, Minnesota might have still won this game. But because Green Bay can run the football now, it's a different animal.
Well, look, Dalvin Cook was missing. It's true. And we saw Green Bay's defense exposed against Philly earlier in the year against the run. So that said, I was very impressed with the Green Bay defense. the Packers have a defense. I mean, again, like no elite running back to see how they can stop the run, but they were ferocious when they needed to be. They were getting to the quarterback, getting pressure. They were doing a lot of good things on defense. And my big takeaway from that is that Aaron Rodgers never throws interceptions because the fact of the matter is the ugly truth in recent years is he's been more of a game manager than he used to be. I say that's not a bad word, but in Aaron Rodgers' case, I'm used to more heroics, especially late in the game. I have not seen them from him. But the fact that the Green Bay Packers can beat their most dangerous divisional rivals on the road in a situation where Aaron Rodgers throws an interception, they can win the Super Bowl. But in order to do it, Rodgers is going to have to be pulling a LeBron right now. It has to be that he's in some way not the same animal that he's going to be in the playoffs. He's very good game managing. Can he be more than that? If he can turn it on, if he can put the pedal to the metal in the playoffs, this could be a Super Bowl team.
I think the Green Bay Packers are the team that the rest of the NFC is going to be the most nervous about.
Okay.
Because when you look at the Green Bay Packers this year, they're 8-1 against winning teams. Think about that. They are 8-1 against winning teams.
Best record in the NFL.
Best record in the NFL without Aaron Rodgers really being Aaron Rodgers. The defense is a championship caliber defense. They can win that way. Aaron Jones, we saw what he could do last night against a really good Minnesota Vikings defense. If we get any glimpse of Aaron Rodgers of old, the Aaron Rodgers that we've been accustomed to seeing over pretty much his whole career, you mean to tell me that Green Bay Packers team can't run through the NFC playoffs and be on their way to Miami? Because right now, Aaron Rodgers is more, quite honestly, game manager. Like you said, Max, he's more game manager. If he's able to elevate his play, because what you saw last night is you saw some overthrows, inconsistent play, and we've seen that from Aaron Rodgers. Everyone's been talking about, well, what's going on with the offense? It's really been Aaron Rodgers.
And you think they can win the way like Elway, like Aaron Rodgers been Elway plus, where Elway was going to be remembered like Donovan McNabb, excellent quarterback but not a champion, got a running game late in his career, was no longer really John Elway, won a couple championships. Do you think the Packers can win the Super Bowl behind a defense and a running game if this is as good as Aaron Rodgers is going to be?
I think Aaron Rodgers need to elevate his play some. I think if he elevates his play, again, if he becomes the Aaron Rodgers that we've been accustomed to seeing throughout his career, absolutely, I think the Green Bay Packers can win, go to the Super Bowl, especially, you're talking about playing in Lambeau Field. Because the one thing about Green Bay Packers, it's rare that they have a hiccup at home. They are really good playing in Lambeau Field.
But see, to me, almost by default, you got to take this into consideration. First of all, Zadarius Smith had 4 sacks last night. Let's remember that. He was all over. He was all over.
They needed it,
he was a monster, and they needed it. That's number one. Number two, here's where it gets interesting. We all know that New Orleans don't want to go to Lambeau Field. I'm talking about weather-wise.
Right.
When you are a dome team, I'm just saying that, even Minnesota at this point, now back in the day, it was a different Minnesota team because of those frigid temperatures and it was outdoors. So going from Minnesota to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, it's the same kind of climate. But now that Minnesota is a dome team, okay, it's a bit difficult. It's a bit more difficult for them as well. But they have a running game. And even though New Orleans, to some degree, if you take New Orleans out of the equation, because I don't think New Orleans wins at Lambeau Field, not in that frigid weather. If it's frigid weather, it's inclement weather, I don't think they win in that situation. Now you're talking about it's really about San Francisco and Seattle.
But I don't think San Francisco is good, like considering the age of the quarterback and the relative lack of experience. Hard to imagine them going to Lambeau and beating a Packers team if Aaron Rodgers has some gas.
That's
in the
fair,
tank.
but I would bring up your point in the question. No one has raved, at least coming into this season, no one raved about Kyle Shanahan more than you did.
Yep.
So you got his play calling. Then you have a running game. And you have a defense that nobody questions can show up. Now, they've slid over the last few weeks a little bit
That's
with
what
the points that they've allowed.
When you play some really good teams, that's what happened when the San Francisco 49ers.
Or when the attrition kicks in.
Right.
I'll tell you what, here's the difference to me this year in terms of winning a Super Bowl for the Packers. The reason Rodgers has to get it back is because for the first time, the team coming out of the AFC is going to have a quarterback likely at least as dynamic as Rodgers. If he's facing Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, he's not giving him a premium anymore.
But this is the first time. But this is the first time we're not saying that the Green Bay Packers are dependent on Aaron Rodgers.
No.
They got a team around him.
And to that point, the Packers have held opponents to under 20 points for 4 straight weeks, and obviously they play the Lions on Sunday. More playoff implications involved in that one. First Take just getting started, guys. Beast Mode is back, y'all. Find out what